Kansas may be famous for its open plains and friendly small towns, but that can't disguise the worsening crisis on its streets. Homelessness is everywhere, and the numbers keep climbing. In cities such as Wichita, Topeka, and Kansas City, people are living in tents beneath bridges or in packed shelters, fighting to make it through each day.
Lost my job, lost my apartment. Could happen to anybody, I guess. Every day I just look for a job, man. It's kind of a shitty job market right now, though.
This isn't only a big city issue, it's spreading across the state, impacting both urban and suburban communities. In this video, we're cutting through the noise to uncover the real story behind the homelessness crisis in Kansas. The scale of homelessness gripping Kansas. Homelessness in Kansas is rapidly turning into a full-blown crisis that can no longer be overlooked. The 2024 point-in-time PIT count recently revealed that 2,800 Kansans are currently homeless, showing a troubling rise compared to the year before. Although Kansas is often praised for its vast prairies and small-town warmth, the increasing wave of homelessness paints a contrasting picture, one that demands urgent focus and response. In major cities like Wichita, the state's largest metropolitan area, 691 individuals were reported as homeless in 2024. Topeka, the capital city, is also struggling with this challenge with 537 residents living without shelter. These statistics prove that homelessness isn't limited to a single area of the state. It's spreading through both urban and suburban regions, impacting places like Johnson County and Wyandotte County, where 250 and 248 people respectively are experiencing homelessness. This widespread problem is impossible to dismiss, especially as it reaches deeper into communities across Kansas. Although Kansas's homelessness rate remains below the national average, the numbers continue to climb. One of the most troubling patterns is the 71% surge in unsheltered homelessness since 2007. This growth has surpassed nearby states like Missouri, and in Kansas City, about 500 individuals are now living without shelter. Kansas City currently ranks among the nation's highest for chronic unsheltered homelessness. What does this reveal about Kansas as a whole? The increasing number of homeless individuals, particularly those without shelter, signals a crisis that requires far more than short-term solutions. Both immediate action and long-term strategies are essential to tackle the underlying causes of homelessness and ensure everyone has a place to call home. The root causes fueling homelessness in Kansas. Homelessness in Kansas is an escalating crisis rooted in systemic shortcomings, financial instability, and insufficient public support. It's not merely about losing shelter, but about the underlying forces that trap individuals in a cycle of poverty. One of the leading causes stems from the shortage of affordable housing. Rental prices have skyrocketed in recent years, while wages have stagnated, making housing unattainable for countless working families and individuals. For those barely surviving paycheck to paycheck, one setback, be it a medical bill, job loss, or car repair, can plunge them into homelessness. The scarcity of affordable housing has worsened due to an emphasis on luxury developments serving middle and upper income groups, leaving low-wage workers with limited options.
Well, there's a lot of people out here who need help. Me, myself, especially, it's gotten a lot more dangerous than it was than when I first came out here. It's a lot younger people, drugs, gangs.
Waiting lists for public housing stretch endlessly, forcing many to live on the streets or in overcrowded shelters. Another major contributor is mental health and addiction. Many homeless people in Kansas struggle with untreated psychological disorders or substance dependencies, yet the state's mental health system remains underfunded, particularly in rural regions. Without proper access to treatment, these individuals are often denied shelter and left to survive on the streets where their struggles intensify. Addiction in particular keeps many trapped in homelessness since they lack the means to reach recovery programs. The state's economic shift is also a major factor. Kansas has transitioned from manufacturing and agricultural employment to low-wage service jobs that fail to cover basic living costs. This transformation, paired with structural inequality, leaves marginalized communities, especially African Americans and Native Americans, disproportionately affected by homelessness. They encounter persistent barriers to housing and employment, making it increasingly difficult to break free from the cycle. So, what actions can truly solve this? How long before Kansas finds lasting solutions while Homeless in America continues to rise? The solution lies in tackling the root causes: affordable housing, mental health care, and fair economic opportunity. Without these, the crisis will only deepen. The devastating ripple effects of a worsening crisis. The impact of homelessness in Kansas extends far beyond those without shelter, touching every part of the community. The most immediate and visible consequence is its effect on the health of people experiencing homelessness. Many are at a much higher risk for chronic illnesses, such as respiratory diseases, malnutrition, and infections, due to limited access to clean water, proper food, and medical care. Additionally, extreme weather, especially the freezing winters, can create life-threatening conditions for those left without a place to stay. Beyond physical health, homelessness often results in deep social isolation. Many who are unhoused face stigma and discrimination that make it harder to seek support or rejoin society. The mental health burden is equally severe. Living on the streets can worsen existing psychological issues, while the constant stress and trauma of homelessness can trigger new disorders like depression and anxiety. The larger community also bears the weight of homelessness. Public systems such as hospitals, shelters, and police departments are stretched to their limits, responding to the growing needs of unhoused individuals. Urban public spaces like parks and sidewalks become less safe and welcoming as homeless populations increase, putting further strain on city resources. Ultimately, homelessness reflects a profound loss of human potential. Those trapped in cycles of poverty, addiction, and mental illness are often unable to contribute their skills and talents to society. This not only restricts their personal opportunities, but also hinders Kansas from realizing the full promise of all its people. If left unchecked, this problem will only intensify the already serious homeless in America crisis. Immediate action is needed to break the cycle and confront the root causes of homelessness, ensuring a healthier and more vibrant Kansas for everyone. Existing solutions and their critical shortcomings. Kansas has taken steps to address homelessness, but these efforts fall short when compared to the magnitude of the crisis. In 2024, the state committed $40 million to support homeless individuals, allocating funds toward shelters, housing aid, and outreach programs. Even with this financial boost, the demand for assistance is staggering, and shelters quickly reach capacity, leaving countless people without a safe place to stay. This underscores the widening divide between available resources and the growing needs of the homeless population. Major cities such as Wichita, Kansas City, and Topeka have introduced different initiatives to lessen homelessness. In Wichita, emergency shelters open during severe weather to offer immediate protection for those in distress. Likewise, Kansas City unveiled its ambitious Zero Casey initiative, striving to eradicate homelessness within 5 years. This program emphasizes low-barrier shelters designed to accept individuals regardless of addiction or mental health conditions. Although it marks progress, implementation has been sluggish, largely because of insufficient funding and limited resources. Topeka provides seasonal shelters during the winter months, giving temporary relief to those without homes. But once the weather eases, many are left without lasting housing solutions. Still, the issue goes far beyond short-term fixes. The true challenge lies in ending the cycle of homelessness. Programs like Housing First, which focus on securing stable housing before tackling addiction or mental health issues, have shown proven success. Yet the magnitude of the crisis makes scaling these programs difficult given restricted funding. Nonprofits such as the Union Rescue Mission in Wichita play a key role in supplying meals, shelter, and essentials, but they too struggle with inconsistent funding and volunteer shortages. Despite ongoing efforts, the core drivers of homelessness, such as inadequate affordable housing, mental health care, and addiction services, remain largely unaddressed. Until these root causes are resolved, the cycle of homelessness will persist. The question remains, what will it take to create real, lasting change? Kansas needs a holistic, long-term strategy that broadens affordable housing, strengthens mental health and addiction programs, and tackles the deeper roots of poverty. Meeting this challenge requires more than government action. It demands collaboration among nonprofits, businesses, citizens, and public leaders to give every Kansan the chance at a stable, dignified life. The real question is, how can we as a community close the gap between what's being done and what's truly needed to end homelessness in Kansas? The time for decisive, united action is now. the way forward sustainable fixes for Kansas. To effectively confront homelessness in Kansas, we must pursue long-term systemic reform. Emergency shelters and food programs are vital for offering immediate relief, but they remain short-term fixes. The state must take bold, comprehensive action to address the root causes of homelessness and build a future where everyone can access a safe, stable home. This demands collaboration among government agencies, nonprofit groups, businesses, and citizens alike. The first and most pressing step is for Kansas to make major investments in affordable housing. Developing policies that promote the construction of affordable homes and apartments is crucial, especially in metropolitan areas like Kansas City, Wichita, and Topeka. The state must prioritize affordable housing by cutting bureaucratic red tape that delays projects and ensuring low-income families can reach these homes. Without a firm commitment to affordable housing, people experiencing homelessness will keep facing steep challenges, and the crisis will only intensify. Beyond affordable housing, mental health care and addiction treatment must be broadened. Many individuals experiencing homelessness in Kansas struggle with untreated mental health conditions or substance use disorders that hinder stable living. The state must invest in expanding accessible mental health and addiction services so those in need receive proper treatment. It's not just about survival, it's about providing people the tools and resources to rebuild their lives and regain independence. Mental health support should be integrated with housing programs to ensure individuals receive the full range of care required. Additionally, job training programs and economic assistance must be emphasized to help homeless individuals reclaim self-sufficiency. Many people facing homelessness lack the training or opportunities to obtain stable, well-paying employment. Offering vocational education, job readiness training, and employment support will empower homeless individuals to create a brighter future. Without these pathways, homelessness will continue to cycle through future generations. Finally, government backing is critical in confronting this crisis. Kansas has achieved some progress, yet much more remains undone. This includes expanding funding for homelessness initiatives, elevating affordable housing and policy, and cutting the red tape that blocks access to support. The state must take a stronger long-term approach to homelessness, treating it as a sustained social emergency requiring comprehensive solutions. The path ahead calls for unity among government, nonprofits, businesses, and citizens to ensure homelessness is no longer an unavoidable reality for Kansans. The answers are within our grasp, but only if we act boldly and urgently to tackle the causes and create lasting, sustainable change. Personal perspective. Having spent many years living in Kansas, I can't help but feel both anxious and disheartened by the worsening homelessness crisis. Kansas has always been recognized for its close-knit communities, small-town warmth, and the way neighbors care for one another. Yet, as homelessness continues to climb, those very values are being challenged. It's difficult to reconcile the image of Kansas as a land of promise with the sight of people sleeping on sidewalks, just steps away from bustling shops and thriving neighborhoods. What affects me most is how effortlessly we look past the homeless. We often think of them as others people who somehow stumbled or made wrong decisions. The truth, however, is that homelessness can strike anyone. One missed paycheck, an unexpected hospital bill, or an abrupt job loss can send someone spiraling into homelessness. The problem isn't about personal shortcomings, but about a system that fails to protect its most vulnerable citizens when they need help the most. Homelessness in Kansas is not simply about lacking shelter. It's a deeply human concern. These are not nameless strangers on the streets. They are our neighbors, our fellow Kansans. They once had houses, families, and aspirations. Now, many wander through towns battling addiction, mental health struggles, and the brutal truth of their reality. We must stop viewing homelessness as something distant and accept it as a crisis unfolding right here in our own backyards. The answer isn't just temporary shelters or charity. It requires a transformation in how we view homelessness. We must confront its roots: unaffordable housing, poor mental health care, and systemic inequality. It's time to fund lasting solutions like stable housing, job training, and accessible mental health treatment so no one is left without a home. Until we act with compassion and urgency, the crisis will only deepen. Conclusion. The homelessness crisis in Kansas is a multifaceted problem demanding both immediate attention and sustainable solutions. Though some progress has been made, current efforts fall short of addressing the true scale of the crisis. Kansas must commit to affordable housing, broaden access to mental health and addiction care, expand job programs, and strengthen financial support for struggling families. Above all, we must change our outlook, seeing homelessness as a human issue rather than a social inconvenience. Kansas has the capacity to drive real transformation, but it requires cooperation from government, nonprofits, businesses, and individuals alike. The question remains, are we ready to face this challenge and guarantee that no one is left without a home? The moment to act is now.